Last night, after the kids were finally asleep, I opened my account to check one number. 1. This morning, I woke up, made the coffee, and opened it again. And a completely different part of my portfolio, on the other side of the world, priced in Korean won, was also up. Same cause. One earnings report. 2 continents. 2 currencies. Both green. I've had bigger single winners this year. I've never had one do this. Let me walk you through exactly what happened, and the lesson I'm taking from it. If you saw my last video, you know the setup. I told you the path to Kospi. 10,000 didn't run through Seoul. It ran through Boise, Idaho. I said to circle June 24th and watch Micron because, as one of only 3 major memory makers on the planet, its report would basically preview the whole Korean memory complex. Well, June 24th happened, and I want to show you what it did to my actual account, not a hypothetical, my account, because it turned into the cleanest real-world lesson I've gotten all year. Quick reminder for new folks, I'm a 17-year logistics and automation project manager, currently on a 1-year sabbatical, raising 3 kids and paying for the year with dividend cash flow. So I'm going to tell you the personal story. And then I'm going to put my old PM hat on and explain why it happened. First, the report itself, because the numbers matter. Micron didn't beat expectations. It obliterated them. Wall Street wanted around $35 billion in revenue and about $20 of adjusted earnings per share. Micron delivered revenue $41.46 billion up, roughly 346% year over year. Adjusted EPS 25/11, well past the 2050 expected. Gross margin 84.9%, a record, against guidance near 81. Free cash flow $18.3 billion, a brand new quarterly record. The engine? Memory for AI. DRAM was 76% of revenue. And cloud memory, the high bandwidth memory, the HBM that feeds AI accelerators, came in around $13,077 billion, nearly doubling from the prior quarter. The market's verdict was instant. Micron stock jumped more than 13% in after-hours trading. That was the number I was staring at last night. But honestly, the quarter wasn't even the most impressive part. The guidance was. For next quarter, Micron guided to $50 billion in revenue, against the roughly $43.5 billion. Wall Street was modeling with margins pushing toward 86%. They guided up hard. And then on the call, the CEO said something that made me put my PM hat on immediately. He argued this isn't just another upcycle, it's a structural change. Here's what got my attention. 1 HBM is sold out. Micron's entire 2026 high-bandwidth memory output is already booked under fixed-price contracts. They said they can only meet about half to 2/3 of the demand, and they expect that shortage to run past 2027 to $100 billion of locked-in revenue. They signed 16 strategic customer agreements, securing at least $100 billion, roughly 139 trillion won of committed future revenue. Now here's why a project manager's ears perk up at that. For my entire career, memory was the textbook boom and bust business. Volatile, spot-priced, the kind of vendor you could never plan a budget around. In PM terms, it was a high-risk, unpredictable line item. What Micron just described is the opposite. Sold-out capacity, fixed-price, multi-year contracts, $100 billion in committed backlog. That's an industry moving from chaotic spot buying to a locked, contracted pipeline. On a project, that's the single best de-risking event you can get when your most volatile vendor suddenly hands you a signed fixed-price multi-year agreement. And there's a personal echo there I can't ignore. I live on predictable dividend cash flow. So watching the industry I'm invested in shift toward predictable, contracted cash flow, that resonated with me on a level beyond the stock price. Okay, now the personal part. The reason I actually made this video, the obvious piece first. I own 25 shares of Micron, so a 13% after-hours pop is a direct visible gain in my account. Simple. But there's a backstory to how I even got those shares, and as a PM, I think the backstory is the better lesson. My biggest winner this year wasn't Micron. It was Rocket Lab. I kept buying it around $60, rode it to a gain north of 100%, and then I sold down to 100 shares, and took money off the table. That's not luck. That's portfolio management. On a project, when a milestone hits and a work stream is wildly over-delivering, you don't just sit there admiring it, you reallocate the budget to the next phase. So I took the Rocket Lab proceeds and rotated them into Micron and Marvel. That capital recycling is literally what funded the position that paid off last night. Now, here's the part that genuinely surprised me. And it's the whole reason this felt different. Micron's blowout didn't just lift Micron. It lifted the entire memory complex. On the strength of this one report, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix both opened sharply higher this morning. I don't own either of those stocks directly, but, and this is the key, I own a Korea-listed covered call ETF that tracks the Kospi 200. And because Samsung and SK Hynix make up roughly half of that index, my Korean ETF is up more than 5% today. Sit with that for a second. An American company's earnings report out of Idaho after the U.S. close indirectly boosted my Korean holdings in one while I was asleep. By the time I poured my coffee, the gain was already there. My total assets went up across the board. From one print, this is the insight I keep turning over in my head. When Rocket Lab doubled, it was thrilling, but it was an island. Rocket Lab went up and that was it. Nothing else in my portfolio moved with it. It was an isolated winner. Micron is a completely different animal, and here's the PM way to see it. On a big project, most tasks are isolated if they slip or surge. Only that task is affected, but a few sit on the critical path nodes that the whole timeline depends on. Touch one of those, and the shockwave travels through multiple work streams at once. Micron is a critical path node of the global technology supply chain. As one of only 3 major memory makers, its results don't just reprice Micron, they reprice the entire memory sector in the US and in Korea. So when it reports, the wave hits my US position and my Korean position simultaneously. That's the difference between owning an isolated winner and owning a bellwether, a stock whose influence is felt account-wide. Rocket Lab moved itself. Micron moved the market around it. And I happened to be holding it on both sides of the ocean. Now intellectual honesty time, because a PM never closes the risk register on the upside only. That ripple cuts both ways. If Micron had missed last night, this exact same chain reaction would have dragged my Korean ETF down right alongside my Micron shares. The thing that amplified my good day can amplify a bad one just as violently. Concentration in a single theme here. AI memory magnifies the upside and the downside. There is no version of this where you get one without the other. And one more sober note: after hours euphoria is not a locked-in gain. A plus 13% print at midnight can look very different by the next closing bell. Today, the ripple ran in my favor. I'm not going to pretend I didn't enjoy it, but I'm also not going to forget that it can run the other way just as fast. So here's what I'm carrying forward. The most powerful thing about last night wasn't the record revenue or the eye-watering guidance. It was watching a single report light up my entire portfolio at once. Direct and indirect, US and Korea, dollars and won, while I slept. Very few stocks have that kind of systemic reach. Seeing it work across my own account in real time taught me more than any spreadsheet could. Not all gains are created equal. Owning a piece of a true bellwether can turn a good day into a remarkable one, as long as you respect that the same wire runs in reverse. Last week I told you to watch Idaho. This week Idaho moved my whole world. If you want me to keep tracking how this AI memory cycle plays out across both my US and Korean positions, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, do you own a true bellwether? Or just a bunch of islands? I read every reply. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.